Marvel replaced Kang in the MCU 8 months ago, we just didn't know it yet. Studios seems to be replacing Kang the Conqueror in the MCU, but this might have already happened back in Loki Season 2. In the wake of Infinity Saga villain Thanos' death in Avengers Endgame, introduced Jonathan Majors to the MCU as Kang the Conqueror and his villainous variants, set to replace the Mad Titan in the multiverse saga. However, Kang's brief time in the MCU has been wrought with controversy, poor box office performances and confusing storylines, which put his future in the franchise in jeopardy. Kang and his variants made appearances in Loki Seasons 1 and 2, and Peyton Reed's Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Each variant of Kang was played by Jonathan Majors, so, after his 2023 arrest, conviction, and firing from, the villain's future in the MCU was left uncertain. During this year's SDCC, studios confirmed that Robert Downey Jr. has been cast as Doctor Doom, the multiverse saga's new primary antagonist, suggesting that Kang will be moved on from. The perfect way for this to happen might have already been seen in the MCU. While it may seem outlandish for studios to shift the focus of the entire multiverse saga when half of its projects have already been released, Loki Season 2's finale might have created the perfect opportunity for Kang's story to be moved on from. Released in November 2023, Loki Season 2, Episode 6, Glorious Purpose, marked an emotional transition for Tom Hiddleston's God of Mischief into a bona fide hero. However, the episode also saw the entire Time Variance Authority change their mission. Initially, the TVA had captured rogue variants of any origin and pruned their timeline, ensuring the sacred timeline didn't branch out into the multiverse. After Loki Season 2 and the establishment of Loki's new multiverse, however, the TVA now operates as a watchdog for Kang variants. This is in an attempt to prevent the prophesized multiversal war that He Who Remains spoke of. This ending means the TVA could continue to deal with Kang variants off-screen, and the villain doesn't ever need to be mentioned again on-screen. A February article from The Hollywood Reporter suggested that studios has set plans to move on from Kang's storyline into motion after Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania underperformed at the box office. This could mean that Loki Season 2's ending was deliberately designed to be an ending for Kang, allowing the TVA to handle his variants off-screen while a new villain, Doctor Doom, replaces him. However, Loki producer Kevin Wright revealed to Variety in October that the series had no reshoots, meaning the ending was always planned that way. No. This is maybe this is the first series to never have any additional photography. The story that is on screen is the story we set out to make. We went out there with a very specific idea of what we wanted this to be, and we found a way to tell it in that production period. It's very much what's on screen on Plus. Since Wright's comments seem to prove that Loki Season 2 was always set to end in the way it did, it's possible this ending may have originally been used as a springboard to introduce more Kang variants and expand the villain's story. Filming for Loki Season 2 took place between June and October 2022, 4 full months before Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania premiered. Now, Loki Season 2's finale seems the perfect way to end Kang's story, though there are still several loose ends for the villain that could do with being wrapped up. Of course, studios could simply never mention Kang again, moving on from his story swiftly, and setting the stage for Robert Downey Jr.'s debut as Doctor Doom, instead. Every Kang variant that the MCU's heroes have come in contact with has been killed off or had their stories resolved, so, from the hero's perspective, Kang's story is already over. However, from an audience perspective, several elements of Kang's MCU journey feel unfinished, which will only become more annoying as time goes on. The massive updates provided by studios at San Diego Comic-Con 2024 reveals 2 new MCU villains that are even more powerful than Thanos. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania's Council of Kangs teased a huge threat to the Avengers. Moon Knight hinted at a connection between Mark Spector and Ramatut. Ravonna Renslayer's Loki Season 2 ending was left open, and He Who Remains promised a destructive multiversal war. None of these stories have been resolved, while there are also theories that Kang the Conqueror himself could return after his apparent death in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. These loose ends could be dealt with by the TVA off-screen, but it would be great to see them completed in the MCU itself.